Now as Chris dives down, he does have a full face mask on. There's a microphone inside of that mask, so we'll be able to hear him in just a moment. He'll be speaking to us from inside the tank, answering questions. That is him. You can hear breathing now. So if you do have questions that you'd like to ask Chris during the show, feel free to raise your hands and I'll do my best to come find you. Or you can turn around and find me. I'm back here in the blue sweater with the microphone. My name is Kayla and I'm happy to relay your questions into him inside the tank. How's it going in there today, Chris?
It's doing great. How's everybody doing out there?
We're doing great as well. What's on the menu for our Stingrays today?
Today the Stingrays are getting some shrimp. I'll show you a piece in just a second. Alright, so it looks just like this. Very similar to what you get at a restaurant. And we give our Stingrays a variety of seafood throughout the week to meet all their nutritional needs.
All right, we are getting shrimp today, but these guys do get a variety of foods throughout the week. So we have things including herring, mackerel, capelin, and squid. And we do a variety of foods to make sure that we're meeting all of their nutritional needs. Now we do also supplement these animals with a special vitamin to make sure that even those micronutrients are being met. So we do take extra special care of all of our animals here at the Silverton. Now what kinds of rays are you feeding today, Chris?
So for the show right here, we have one Stingray that comes out of the Stingray, and it's called a cow nose ray. We have 4 males and 1 female.
Wow. Now, is there a way that you can tell the males from the female?
Oh, yes. There's one obvious way with the stingrays and sharks. The males have an external reproductive organ called claspers. They're these 2 little finger-like projections. So you see them here, right in the middle of the pelvic fin. So you can see these 2 claspers. So this individual here, this is the male that you can see right there. The females, they don't have that on their body. And we have one female, she's hanging out in the corner here. I'll bring her up in a second.
Awesome. So you can actually tell on sharks and stingrays. You can see which is male or female by looking for those claspers. Only the males will have claspers, and that is typically at the base of the tail where the tail meets the body. It's always going to look like 2 finger-like projections, so definitely pretty easy to tell, which is really cool since you can't tell the difference in most fish species. A lot of these types of fish look identical, so you wouldn't be able to tell by looking. But with the sharks and stingrays, you definitely can. They're very interesting animals. Now, since they are so different looking, Chris, maybe you can give us an idea of exactly what we are looking at as these animals make their way out the window.
Yeah, so the big hole where that food is disappearing, that's going to be their mouth. Now, on both sides of the mouth, they have 2 small holes. Those are going to be the nares, or the nostrils. And they do have a sense of smell from water. Under the mouth of the nares, you'll see 2 rows of slits opening and closing. Those are the gill slits. And the gills will be just inside. Now, stingrays, they have 2 eyes, just like we do. And just behind those eyes, you can see this hole opening and closing. That's called a spiracle. And that spiracle lets them suck water into the top and push it out to the gills on the bottom. So that way, if they're laying flat or buried in the sand, they can keep on breathing by sucking water into those spiracles.
Wow, so the bottom side of that stingray is the mouth, nares, and gill slits. A lot of times it does look a lot like a little face is looking out at you, but those 2 dots above the mouth are the nares, so that is how these animals can smell here in the water. And the eyes are actually on the top side of the body. As Chris is pointing out, they're right in front of those spiracles. Now they'll use those spiracles particularly when they're down feeding or hiding down in the sand. Stingrays are bottom dwellers. They spend a lot of time down in the sandy ocean floor. And they spend a lot of their time digging for food there as well. So if they're trying to breathe or dig up food and they are still breathing, they don't want to inhale or take in any debris or sand from the ocean floor. So they can pull water in through the top side of their body as well. Definitely a really interesting organ that is very specific to some of these bottom-dwelling elasmobranchs. Now, we did mention sharks, Chris. How many types of sharks do we have here?
Yeah, so we got 4 species of shark in the habitat. I'll start with the smallest one. That's the coral cat, and she's hanging out of that rock. And you'll actually see her right after the show. Oh, while he's out right now, you can see our biggest shark species, the Japanese leopard. This one right here, we got one whale. Second largest is the brown banded shark. That's off to your left. And then the most numerous shark in here is the white spotted bamboo. So we have one female that's going right down the middle. That's what they normally look like. And you'll see there's a lot of fully white sharks. They're albino. So they're the same species as that brown one. They just don't use the same skin color or pigment, so they're fully white in color.
Wow, so 4 different species of sharks here as well, on top of those stingrays. We've definitely got quite a variety of animals here. Now there's another crowd favorite that we like to point out, the puffer fish. Maybe you can point some of those guys out for us as well.
Yeah, so just like the sharks, that we have 4 species of puffer fish in the habitat. Do you have any puffer fans out there? Anybody like puffer fish? Pretty cool, we got a couple, they need some. So, probably some of our biggest species, spotfin puffer. There he is, right over there. Now, that's our biggest one that we have. Pretty neat. We actually feed him with the target up on the stack. Maybe Kayla can talk about that. If you're interested in target feeding. That's the new spotfin. We've got another porcupine, the short spine puffer up here. And then the other two, it's going to be the immaculate puffer, which is kind of a cream colored fish. And the dog face, which is kind of a light gray colored puffer. And I don't see them right now, but when they come out, I'll point them out. There's the dog face right there in the middle. You can see over the arch. And that's got a particularly kind of white beak in contrast to the color of his skin.
Wow, so 4 species of pufferfish here as well. As Chris is pointing out, our largest being that spotfin puffer, he's kind of up on the top right-hand side right now. But if you do quickly look around, you'll notice 3 other species that are much smaller in size, but definitely still have that very particular puffer look. Now, pufferfish tend to have a very boxy, round type of body, with that very squared off tail fin. So definitely something that you can find. And a lot of pufferfish will have a visible beak as well. So if you see our dog-faced puffer, you can definitely tell exactly who he is by those big chompers right in his mouth. Some really interesting fish. Now puffers are also incredibly smart. We've actually target trained that large spotfin puffer. And he'll come up to the top of the surface when we have a yellow target in the water, and he knows that that's where he's going to go to get his food. So he'll come up specifically when we've got that target out and wait for his food as well. Now there's a lot of other fish species here, Chris. About how many types of fish do we have at the Silverton?
Yeah, so we actually have around 100 different species of fish, individual species. Comprised of a lot of the major groups, like shacks, snappers, tanks, angelfish, shrinkfish, etc.
Wow, so 100 different species. And we have about 2,000 animals in total here in our tank. Now, there's usually a pretty special guest. We do have those guys coming back out today. Can you tell us about our mermaid friends, Chris?
Oh yes, we have a final species of the mermaid that lives in this habitat. We only have females in our system, in our aquarium. We only see them Thursday and Sunday. That mermaid's going to be out at 2 o'clock after all this meeting's done. And along with the mermaids, we have a unicorn tank. So there's a nice one coming over the mark right there. You can see that it's got a nice horn on it. It's only in the Silverton you see unicorns and mermaids.
Wow, so unicorn tangs and mermaids here at the Silverton. Definitely lots of really cool stuff. Now, how are we doing on food in there, Chris?
Almost done. I just got this last piece of shrimp right here.
Awesome. Well, since we are talking about all of these fish, there's definitely got to be a lot of food going into this habitat. How do we make sure everybody in here gets fed?
Yeah, it can be quite a feat. We've got a little over 2,000 animals animals in here. We want to make sure everybody gets fed, but from these greedy pilot fish all the way down to the little ones on the rockwood. So we got a couple different ways to get that food out here. The primary method anyway is broadcast feeding. So we chop up food into pieces, broadcast it over the top, and let that trickle down. A lot of those big to medium fish get those. Then for the small fish, that live in the reef, we take a little squeeze bottle, and we squeeze that out, so they don't have to bite the seafood shelter. And then for the more omnivorous and herbivorous fish, you'll see some clips hanging on some chains. Those actually hold seaweed, nori, for those fish to eat up.
Wow, so definitely lots of food. We do make sure that everybody in here gets plenty to eat. As Chris mentioned, there's those nori clips in the back. That's our seaweed to make sure that our herbivores and our omnivores get their greens as well. And then we chop up all kinds of different seafood throughout the week for the rest of these animals. Everybody gets plenty of food, and we do specifically target feed animals like our stingrays, our sharks, and some specific fish when we know that it's necessary to make sure they're getting enough food. They don't get out-competed here in the tank. Lots of really cool stuff. All right, well, let's give Chris a big wave and thank him for coming down to feed those stingrays for us today. Awesome. And if you were waiting for those mermaids, Chris mentioned it, but they will be back out at 2 o'clock, so 2 p.m. Hang tight. They will be right down here at the front window, so just hold your spaces. Otherwise, if you are wanting to use up that time a little bit until the mermaids are back down, there's a beautiful mermaid art gallery just behind the aquarium. You can check that out while you're waiting as well. And my name is Kayla. Again, I will wait out here for a couple more minutes. I am a staff biologist here as well, and I'm happy to answer any last-minute questions you guys did not hear throughout the show. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day.